university in the country, not a single one, has done any series of experiments with materials and their responses to such vector zeros in electromagnetics. Not a single one. I think I'd lay out a challenge for anybody to produce a paper by a physicist in all the schools, and I'd make one single exception of Hooper. He didn't call it this, but he did this, where they actually looked at this kind of a problem. It has not been done. I've asked the heads of quite a few physics departments if they've ever seen such a series of experiments in their life, or if any of their colleagues have ever done anything like that, or any of their graduate students, and I have yet to get a yes answer to any of that. It's always been a no.
They don't want to play with it, it sounds like.
Well, what I'm urging is, it isn't that hard to do that kind of experiment. And if somebody points out to you, hey, here's a beautiful thing that vector analysis tells us we can easily do. The first thing we learn to do in vectors is add and sum vectors to zero. And it doesn't seem like anybody's ever investigated what you get with electromagnetics when you do that. It seems that a true scientist who's curious about the behavior of nature and wants to work that out couldn't help but jump in there and do some experiments in that area to find out what happens.
I think it's very, it's some sort of a commentary, Tom, on the way we are right now. And here are these two young men, very bright, that work in surroundings that would be, well, you've seen them and I've seen them. It looks like a little bicycle shop somewhere. That they are producing free energy.
That's correct.
And they don't have the great gleaming laboratories and all of the things that Caltech could offer them, or UCLA or USC or TRW or McDonnell Douglas or all the great aerospace firms here, because those people will not listen. So they have to do it in their back shops under the most adverse circumstances and at great cost to them personally. But they nevertheless are doing it. And we're looking at them. And it's here. And we want to talk about this because what these men are doing back there in their little back rooms will soon free you of energy cost ever again.
Well, as you know, Bill, in my opinion, it has not been accidental. This business of pounding always on the table scientifically and mouthing off about the laws of nature as if it were dogma, and I'm not talking about, there's nothing wrong with the law of nature as long as you recognize it can be defeated.
Well, I think the law of nature is just that.
With the idea that it can never be changed under any circumstance, that is not science, that is dogma. That assumes we have perfect models, and of course we do not.
Well, it's a term we use here on the show quite often when we get on this subject, is we look at the second law of thermodynamics. We know that that is not true anymore. The law of conservation of energy, we know that's not true anymore. But it's as if those laws were fingered by the finger of God on stone on Mount Sinai and brought down by Moses. That our scientific community deals with those laws. The fact of the matter is that those laws are not laws.
Yes, the real problem we have in science is that so many people are always trying to make it dogma and not science. For example, let me give you some specific examples.
Could you wait on those specific examples for a second?
Sure.
Because I have a specific thing I got to do here, Tom.
Right.
I'm speaking with Tom Bearden, who's on the conference line with us from Dallas, Texas tonight. In studio with me is John C. Bedini and Stephen Worth, and also our devices that produce more energy than they use. One of the finest theoretical physicists in the world who has become enmeshed in and fascinated by the work of the two gentlemen that are in studio with me, John C. Bedini and Stephen Worth. We're talking about free energy. I'd like for both of you men, if you don't mind, let's take a little time out because we have a dear, dear friend of Open Mind on the show, the president of the Southern California Society of Psychical Research, Dr. Elizabeth McAdams. Liz, how are you?
Oh, I'm wonderful. How are you, Bill?
I'm just doing fine. What's on your mind?
Well, I am having such a wonderful time, Bill, in Washington, D.C., representing the International Foundation for Survival Research at the perhaps the most historic conference, Bill, in the last 100 years for survival after death. We have Senator Claiborne Pell of Rhode Island as one of the conveners of a major conference being held at Georgetown University talking about does the consciousness survive death?
Does it?
Absolutely, as far as I'm concerned, based on the evidence. And, of course, as you and I have discussed on the show, there always needs to be more research. But Senator Pell and others, and actually astronaut Edgar Mitchell's organization, have put together this excellent conference. And I'm just very, very pleased to see that senators and congressmen are so interested in this subject.
They're beginning to find out about the intelligence of the spirit then.
Absolutely. And Senator and Mrs. Albert Gore, Jr. of Tennessee are giving a luncheon this coming Monday for the International Foundation for Survival Research. And Senator Pell says that he's going to be able to come to Los Angeles in the next few months to receive the Foundation's Distinctive Achievement Award to be given to him.
Well, we certainly want to tip our hats to all of them, Liz,
right,
for their work.
Absolutely.
You know, we've struggled long and hard to get serious attention paid to these things that a lot of people may think are rather mystic. But I know of nothing more mystic than conventional religions, if you want to get down to it.
And Bill, your show, Open Mind, has done so much in all of Southern California and throughout the country to bring attention to this through the years, and so people are finally listening to it and doing something about it at the Senate level, it seems.
So now it's getting into the Senate.
Absolutely.
Well, it's gratifying to me, being a constitutionalist as I am, that the Senate is responding to the will of the people.
Absolutely.
It's about time that they listen to the people. If they would listen to them on some other things, they may solve all the problems they got out there.
Well, you know, it's very gratifying because Senator Pell of Rhode Island and Bishop John Spong of Newark and others stood up in front of 750 people. This beautiful Gaston Hall was totally packed, and said that for example, Senator Pell said today that he thinks the entire human race stands a chance of making it without killing each other with a nuclear arms race if we can just be convinced once and for all from science that our consciousness survives death, despite whatever religious beliefs we might or might not have. That additionally, knowing of the research from science, he thinks will do a great deal for the human race.
Well, you know, Senator Pell is right, Liz, that the key to our future is in science.
Yes.
And, of course, we're discussing that here right now.
You've got a wonderful show going. I was having fun listening.
And the science that these gentlemen are talking about that are with us tonight is the science that renders a nuclear bomb neuter.
Well, I certainly congratulate you, Bill, on another exciting show, as always.
Well, thank you.
And you take care, and if anybody would like to call the Foundation for a free booklet there in Southern California that would summarize survival after death research, all they have to do is call 213-857-5604, and your office has that, and the staff will send them a free booklet.
Right, that's the Southern California Society for Psychical Research. I'm happy to be a part of it. Liz is the president of it. You've done just monumental work, I think, in this area, giving a great deal of credence and respectability to what a lot of people might look upon as a gray area. You've made it a real area. You've now got it into the halls of Congress.